Thank you for joining us today for our Ocean View podcast. This episode, we are going to be talking about all things holiday. My name is Tori Roberts, and I am your engagement director. And with us today, we have our Next Gen team. Hi, Next Gen team. Why don't you introduce yourselves and tell us all who you are and what you do and all the lovely things.
Absolutely. Well, my name is Tristan Nix, and I am the Minister of Students. And so I'm going on a year of being here, which has been great. So I'm happy to be here.
My name's Kaylee DeFreitas, and I am our Kids Ministry Director, and it is my honor to work with all of our birth to fifth graders.
Wow, that's great. I'm Aaron Bauer. I oversee our kids and students, so I work with these guys a lot and a lot of other random things as needed for our next generation families and students. So,
Well, awesome.
yeah.
Thank you for being here. I know
Thanks
you
for
have
having us.
lots of
Yes.
amazing things going on in your lives,
So
but you're here
many.
today, which is awesome.
They
we're-
locked the door, so we're stuck here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
we
are.
can't-
I
we
locked you
actually
in. You
can't
can't
leave.
leave forever.
Yeah.
You're here. So we're going to talk about all things holidays and families and just how to make this season awesome for our families, but also manageable for our parents, because I feel there's a lot of overwhelm during the holidays, but we also feel the pressure to make it special. So just to kick us off, does anybody have a fun childhood tradition that they would like to share? That
From
they
our
can
own
think of? From your
childhood?
own childhood.
And I feel like they changed a lot over time, so I don't know that there's one that's stuck through. I feel like every few years the tradition is new traditions.
Oh.
Is the way it was
Okay.
and still is with
Yeah.
in my parents' house. Yeah, so that's what it is.
Okay. Well, growing up for
Yeah.
me, while you guys are thinking, my grandparents are from Denmark. So part of our family tradition was we would have kringle, which my sons call crinkle.
I tried it for the first time this year.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh, Trader Joe's.
Trader Joe's.
Shout out. Yeah.
I have never had the pleasure.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It is. So we would have that every Christmas morning.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yep.
It's a pastry. It's a
My
big circular.
dad
I'll bring it in.
is of German descent. They have like a pickle on the tree. You have to find
Oh,
the
yes,
pickle,
the pickle,
and you get
yes.
an extra something. So that's something that still exists.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that we didn't necessarily have set traditions, like things we did year to year, other than the time and who we gathered with. So for us, it was, my mom's family on Christmas night, and my mom and dad both have very large families. And then it was being with my dad's family on either on Christmas Eve or the night after Christmas. And I think both of those have just meant a lot to me growing up, because it's how we've all stayed really connected and close.
That's awesome.
So for me, I was an only child. So Christmas was always
All about
a
you.
joy. It was just about me and Jesus, of course, but mostly me. But it was awesome. So every year we would alternate whether we went to Louisiana, because I had family in Louisiana. And so we would either go to my mom's house or my dad's house. And so Christmas was always a joy, because they had, my mom has 7 siblings. And so, again, Christmas, only child. They didn't have a lot of kids, so it was a lot of joy.
Good
just
times
with
for you.
gifts and all the things and food and all of that. So, yeah.
So is there any foods that remind you of either Thanksgiving or Christmas that like you have to have? Like mine was kringle. But is
Oh,
there
yeah.
anything that was like it has to happen for Christmas or Thanksgiving? Otherwise, those days don't really happen.
For me, it's sweet potato pie, which I know sounds kind of weird for some people, but sweet potato pie is amazing. And so when we hit Thanksgiving and all of that, it's sweet potato pie all the way through.
Nice.
Yep.
We are 100% turkey at Thanksgiving, ham at Christmas.
No tofu for you.
No thanks. No thanks.
No. Thanksgiving is just kind of like, all right,
Hamburgers?
what is it going to be this year? No, it's different all the time.
Really?
Still is with my family. I think growing up, maybe it was more traditional as a kid, but I like turkey always for Thanksgiving, typically speaking. But as we grew older and just kind of shifted in things, yeah. So when you say traditions, I'm like, maybe they were at one point, but I don't remember them, if that's the case. I think our tradition was just changed.
Nice.
Like nothing stayed the same for long.
Keeps it exciting.
So
you know?
yeah.
Wow, Wow, so we were very structured. So I grew up opposite. Like my mom we read the same stories. Like it wasn't Christmas if that didn't happen. We watched Miracle on 34th Street every Thanksgiving evening because that ushered in Christmas. Like we were very structured. That's interesting.
Wow.
All right.
That sounds nice.
Or not, depending on.
Right.
Okay, so how do you think that as parents, we can be intentional about creating these memories, whether it's not traditions, it's the tradition of no traditions, but
Right.
how do we create memories for our kids? Like when they grow up and they're having this conversation as adults, how do you think we can be intentional?
I think it's easy to get caught up in the idea of big, right? Like the big thing, the big gift, or what you think it's the monumental things that are going to make the lasting impact. And yes, I agree, those things can. But I think it's more of the small moments. Like, what are the small things that you guys do as a family that bring you all together? And then just one thing for us here locally, I'll give us a local plug, is the North Myrtle Beach Christmas lights. Now that's like a non-negotiable for the kids of we go to the North Myrtle Beach Christmas lights every year, and that's not a big thing, but that's something that we really look forward to. And it's like, hey, it's important enough that we calendar it. So I think it's like the small moments.
Yeah. One thing that me and my wife have strategically done is when our kids say that they loved something, we try and really make it a point to do those things. So, for example, so for our family right now, we go to Illinois every Christmas. And so our kids expressed this one year. They're like, man, we love being able to see the snow at Grammy and Pop-Pops. And so we try and bottle that up and make sure that at least somehow throughout the year they see snow or some kind of snow experience for them, because that's something that they have really latched onto. And so some of it is just being aware and listening to your kids about the things that they find joy in the season of. So,
Yeah. Right, non-tradition.
Non-tradition. Well, I think sometimes we can get caught up on the idea of having to create a moment when it really is, those moments kind of create themselves. You can plan things and do stuff, but it is, as Kaylee mentioned, like it's those unexpected things that they things that you think are not a big deal that they really remember. Whether it's Thanksgiving, it's usually just being with family. My kids love going to my parents' house and being with their cousins, and that's it. That's what they love about it. They don't maybe remember anything else. Like Thanksgiving, at Christmas, when we say like, what's a Christmas you really enjoyed? It's always something where it was just a random thing or a random surprise or something. Maybe it was a reveal of a trip. It wasn't necessarily what they got, it was how they got it.
Yeah.
So like making it like almost a scavenger hunt. They love stuff like that. And so those kinds of things, I think, cement a little bit more of those moments kind of peppered in.
It's the feeling
Yeah,
behind
and just
it.
generally in the season, it's just trying to there are things that we do with our kids that are pretty regular every year, like going to Christmas lights or going to whatever it might be that's around town that we just try to make special and different, but also unique and fun. And so I think just doing little things together as a family, those are the things they're going to remember. And if you just call it special because it's Christmas, they'll remember it. They're like, oh, it might be regular to you, but hey, we're going to have a special Christmas night at McDonald's. Okay, great, let's do it.
We're all going in our PJs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you feel like we have more pressure as parents today to make all the things happen than our parents felt? I mean, I guess we aren't from that era, but I don't know. I feel like
100%.
I feel like we have a lot more pressure.
It's the comparison game for
Yeah.
sure.
Social,
like you can
good old
feel,
social media.
you see, oh, look what they did, and there's a certain elf that lives on certain shelves that
He shall not be named.
I just can't even. I don't have the bandwidth for. But I
But
know,
we love if you do.
Yeah, I don't like.
But we
to
love
me,
that for you.
To me, that's not. It's and I know people that love it and they love doing things with that. But
My older son has now gotten involved.
it's great and it's wonderful. It's just not. It's not an emphasis for me. So in our family, it's there, but just there. You know what I mean? So Yeah. So, but there is pressure to like want to do more and bigger and better. I think everybody feels that. I also do think, though, in the last few years, there's been almost a reduction in that. I think people are now aware of that and also push against that to know we don't have to do
Which I
Just
love.
all of that
because-
stuff. Yeah.
I also feel like we're busier. I mean,
Yes.
maybe it just feels like because we're all in that phase, but I feel like we're busier as families than
Yeah.
we used to be. Like it just feels like there's so much more with school and different things like that than there used to be.
Yeah, definitely the busiest time of year. For sure. For sure.
So how do we take the busyness, take all the pressure, and how do we like boil that all down with some like simple faith-centered things just to keep Jesus the center? Like what can we do in our families? And we all represent varying ages of kids, which I love. So how do we do that? Like say start with littles. How do we do that with little kids?
Yeah, I think it's having intentional moments, whether that's at bedtime or at the dinner table, where you are actively bringing it back to Christ, right? And the reason for the season. So, shameless kids ministry plug. Surprise, you're going to get to find out what you're getting early. But this year we have created Advent calendars. We did not create them, but we have created the paper that we're going to give you.
Procured.
We have
them.
yes, we've
They're
procured
available
them.
to
They're
you.
available to you. And the reason I liked this particular Advent calendar this year was because it was a scripture passage, a prayer time, but also an activity.
That's awesome.
So how can you read, pray, bring it back to Christ, but then actually go and do something as a family? And it's not a big thing every day, but there are the whole, all 25 days you could be, doing something as a family. So in small ways. And I think just kind of making that a priority is really important.
Yeah.
How do we do that with students? So I have 2 teenagers. So how does that work with students?
Oh, that's a great question. I think I'll say about students. So similar to what I said about listening to my own kids, but having conversations with your student and engaging with them in things that they find joy in, right? Things that they like. Because part of engaging with a student is just meeting them where they're at. And so I think that that's a great way to engage with your student, spend time with your student. Hey, what would you like, for the season to look like, right? What kind of things do you find joy in this time of the year? And bringing them along with you. And maybe if your family has either traditions that you've done in the past or maybe traditions that have changed, bring your student along and help them start adding to the traditions as well. And so, if there's siblings in the house, maybe there is a specific character that they manage for the household,
Right.
or,
Yes.
again, because then they're a part of the story of
The fun.
Christmas. Yeah, yeah.
Well, it's fun because I love that. When you ask them questions, sometimes the simplicity of what they say surprises you. Like ours love baking cookies. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
I think just a note on that. So when you say like, how do we integrate faith, right? How do we keep it kind of focused around this time of year? I think the first thing that's maybe really easy to overlook is the obvious, which is show up on a Sunday, engage with the church. Don't wait till Christmas Eve and show up. Use the whole month to keep it centered on Christ and model that for your kids and your students. Allow them to engage with that on a Sunday and in their small groups as well. I think sometimes in the busyness of the season, the first thing to go is that 1 hour and 15 minutes on a Sunday morning where it just doesn't feel necessary or worth it, when actually that is probably the most biggest anchor point that you could have for that week. And so I would say the first thing is to just prioritize that. And then when you do that, that's going to set the pace for everything else that you do at home. Not that that is more important than what you do at home, but it is definitely supportive of that. And then at home, to the point of intentional conversation, I think we can, and I'm speaking as a pastor and a parent, I think we can feel that that's weighty and that is, it's too difficult and it's awkward or whatever the excuse might be. And so we do nothing rather than something. And I would say do something rather than nothing. So you, in your mind, you think this intentional, especially the younger you go or the older you go, there might be a sweet spot right at second and third grade, but you, in your mind, you have an idea of how you want a conversation, of intentional conversation to go, and it's not going to go that way. Right. That's okay. Just asking questions, just sitting down and praying together, just opening the Bible together, just acknowledging faith in your home is a great step in the right direction. And if it goes off the rails within 45 seconds, that's okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's fine.
Yeah.
You build a rhythm to do that, and you start flexing that muscle a little bit. You train it, and over time, it's going to start working. So don't be intimidated by that. If you're not used to getting together as a family and having a faith discussion or devotional time or praying together, there is no better time of year to start doing that than this time of year. That's because great. It's everywhere, and you get to talk about it all the time. So those would be the things we talk about. How do we integrate faith into that? Like, just those two things, man, if you can do that, it's going to skyrocket your family in a way that maybe you've hoped for or wished for but didn't know how to do all year long, and you can propel that into the next year as well.
Well, and I love what you said too, because I feel like tempering our expectations. You know, like you go in thinking, oh my goodness, this is going to be an hour conversation. It's going to be so deep, and really it's 3 minutes. Yeah. But you've already inputted into that for the future. So, and I will say, you guys do a really good job of giving resources to parents. Like if you're willing to use them, they are there. Right. And you guys send things home on Sundays. You send texts out. There's always resources that you guys give week to week on how I can engage with my kids. And so they're there for us.
Right, and they're so simple that we kind of ignore them.
Right.
And so then it's just of a why. What's difficult? Like for kids, it's like, okay, so when you're in the bath, like when you're giving them a bath for their preschooler, how do I just ask a question? Or in the car, or when you're just dropping off at school or whatever. Like they're so simple, and yet they're so easy to ignore. So don't ignore them.
Yeah. And just utilizing our time. So what do you think, we kind of mentioned already, this time of year is very busy, sometimes very stressful for parents. Sometimes those schedules can create just tensions within the family. What do you think are some of the common pitfalls that we face as parents with kids?
Well, in my phase of life, with a toddler still, and a second grader, so toddler and second grader, I think it's easy to feel this, like you guys are talking about, feel this pressure to do too much when you realize it's actually very overwhelming for them. And so I think for some, it's good, it's okay to say, hey, this is not something we're going to be able to do this year for our family, kind of creating those healthy boundaries and realizing whatever you do or want to do, it's enough, but don't feel like you have to jam pack your schedule so much with every Christmas thing available to man that then you get to the end of December and you're like, wow, what happened to our routines and structure and schedule? It's like, there's time and place for both of that. Mm-hmm. So I think for us, it's like making decisions of like, what's the best for our current, family dynamic, and then, saying it's okay. It's okay to say no to some things.
Right. Yeah. I think that to Aaron's point earlier, just about being strategic and all of that. I think that sometimes we get so focused on adding things to our calendar or adding things to our traditions or adding things to our family, and I think that sometimes there's a addition by subtraction principle that we can utilize. It's okay to be a little bit more bored on occasion and have conversation and sit at the dinner table and eat dinner.
Take those cell phones away.
Take the cell phones away, please. Take the cell phones away. But I think that it's okay to not have a lot on your calendar, but then to be able to focus on the priority things. And again, to Aaron's point, like make sure that you have church on your calendar. If you have to do that and be that strategic about it, then make sure and do that. And then nothing, just like a meeting that you have for work, nothing can encroach on that period of time, because that's the strategic time that you and your family are going to be engaging, specifically during this season, but hopefully, again, that sets you up for, going into the next year as well.
Yeah.
So.
I was thinking about like pitfalls for me personally. Again, I there's times where I fall under the pressure to make things perfect, you know,
Yeah,
and so I that's a pitfall for me. So I know that I personally have to temper my expectations. Like I
Right.
think back, I think Kaylee and I were talking about this. I think back to one of my first Thanksgivings after my youngest was born, and everybody was at the table, but he couldn't handle life. And so he and I were sitting out back in the sand pit because he needed to just have a moment because
Yeah.
there were so many people around the table. But I just remember sitting there like crying, thinking all I want to do is be in there and eating turkey. And I'm
Right.
sitting here by myself with, you know what I mean? And so but that was what he needed at the moment. And that
Right.
was just fine, you know? And so I feel like sometimes as parents, we need to release the pressure.
Yes,
So.
for sure.
Okay. So we've already talked about using Advent or Christmas to engage our kids. What are some fun and creative ways that you feel like we can teach our kids and teens to serve through this season, to like serve others?
I think there's a lot of cool opportunities in our city, and namely, at our church, we have Operation Christmas Child. Now, it's not December yet, but it gets us into the season, and I think just that experience of taking your kids with you, or students, taking them with you to the store, getting to pack that shoebox and explain to them what it does, what it means, why we're doing it. And I'm pretty sure, I don't want to speak completely out of turn, but I'm pretty sure every school in Myrtle has an angel tree. And I think all Horry County schools have an angel tree. And so that's a really cool opportunity, whether it's where your kids go to school or maybe it's just a local school close to your house, that you're able to say, hey, if there's a child on the angel tree, our family would love, to bless that child. And so you get to take that child's wish list and go and shop for them. And I just think that's really cool to show your kids like, hey, we're going to provide Christmas for somebody else this year, and really emphasize that heart of service.
Yeah. One thing that I've been encouraging our students to do is to get together with their small groups and do it together. There's a different bond that happens when a group of people or a community, right, gets together and serves and accomplishes a mission together. And so that's something that we've been encouraging students to do. But again, as a family, I absolutely agree. Like, get together, figure out what you want to do during this season to give back. And to go back to our previous conversation, that helps with engaging faith during this season as well. Right? And it helps to say, hey, this is why we do this. We give because we received, right? And so being able to really prioritize that, and it kind of sets a mindset for the season as well. Again, if you're looking to strip down your Christmas, right? Like maybe in the past, you've done a lot of gifts. You've just spent too much money and gifts have just been too much of a priority. This is an opportunity for you to strip that back and say, hey, we're going to recenter now on the personhood of Jesus Christ, which is really the reason for the season, even though that's kind of punny, but it
for
sticks.
the season. That
It
sounds
sticks.
fun.
It just
should be
works.
some sort
Like a
of
sticker.
sticker. Oh, that'd be nice.
I think we just started something.
A sticker. That's a fun phrase. Let's put that around.
I agree. Shirts for everyone.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. So I can't now. How do we, we're talking about serving. How do we, as parents, make sure that our homes reflect peace? We've talked about this a couple different ways, but how do we make sure that our homes reflect peace during the season and gratitude? I know one of those ways is serving. One of those ways is cutting busyness out. But rather than focusing on like consumerism, how else can we help our kids focus on gratitude during the season?
Can I just say a thing?
You may.
Okay.
Is it going to throw me off completely?
I hope not.
Okay.
I want to answer that question.
Okay, I'm ready.
But I've already forgotten it.
Okay.
But something you said about cutting out busyness, or what was it? Cutting out things. I don't know what
to
you
reflect
just said.
peace, so our homes are peaceful.
Okay, yeah. All right, so
Yeah.
here's the thing. Let's just be real and honest about it. Is that we can talk all we want to about, let's cut out the busy. You're not going to. You're not.
You're going to be
You're
busy.
not going to. You're going to be busy. There are things that you are in control of that you can choose not to do. But the truth of the matter is there are things not in your control that you
true.
are going to do. There are
Expectations.
work Christmas parties that
Yeah,
you have
that's
to
true.
go to. There are school events that you're going to have to go to. There are teams or whatever you have going on. There's things that are happening and they're going to be there, and you're going to feel this deep obligation to go and be there because it's Christmas, and why not? And so I say that just to say that as much as we want to say, oh, let's cut out the busyness, you're not going to. You might a little. There might be some things you're like, we're not actually going to go try to like make it to this one tree lighting thing that's the same as all. We're just going to do one instead of 3. Okay, maybe. So you saved yourself 2 hours. But I'm just saying that when you talk about gratitude, maybe it's in the busyness that you take time to be thankful for it. So rather than just say, I'm going to cut out busyness, and maybe as you're being busy, man, wasn't it great that we got to go do this? Wasn't it great that we got to da-da-da? And you just, that's a hard thing because the part of being busy is was it like you're exuding busyness, like you're stressed and all of that. No, but if we reframe it as something that we get to do, this is something that we actually
Love that.
are excited to do, like, that will help give you peace as well, because it helps reframe it in your way that, man, this is the only time of year, just once a year, we get to celebrate Christmas like this. The only time of year we get to go watch a tree light up. Isn't that fun? You know what I mean? This is the only time of year we get to go pack some shoe boxes and serve kids. This is the only time of year that we have these people come into our lives once a year. Like this is exciting, you know? And so part of it is reframing our own mindset of that, of, yeah, it is going to be busy. We get to pick what our busy is, but in the midst of whatever our busy is, we also get to be thankful for it. And I think that is really important for us as you think about it. And peace, I mean, in your home, yeah, that's tricky too. It's always get your tree. I'll say this: get your tree up. Get your
That's
tree
right.
up.
Bring
get the
the
lights
peace
on
and the
it.
joy back.
Early.
I'm
Get it
telling
up
you,
early.
every night my tree went up
Yes.
the day after Halloween, and it is there, and I am just like,
We were Halloween night.
man,
Nice.
It's
Are yours up
great.
yet?
No.
Get
We'll
what
be-
is going on?
We'll be around
Chaos.
Thanksgiving
His house
time.
is
Yeah.
chaos
I
right now.
You know, there's so
He's
many
still
kids
feeling
The
Yeah.
running
Sunday
around.
before Thanksgiving is when ours goes up.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll do it earlier. I like
The
that.
earlier the better.
Because I feel like we set
It's
the
true.
tone. That's really good.
Yeah.
Because like if I'm feeling frenetic, then that's carrying through my entire household.
100%.
I really like that.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that. I needed
Yeah.
that today.
Was that the
You were
answer? I don't remember
preaching.
what your question
You were
was. but
preaching
that-
to her today.
Oh,
No,
was
you
it?
were. That was
Okay.
great.
All right,
Thank
all
you.
right.
That was pretty much. I mean, also like how do we, that's how we can have a thankful heart through the busyness and again manage our expectations and enjoy it versus hanging on for dear life.
Right.
But how do we teach our children gratitude through this? Other than just gratitude for the season and emulating that ourselves. Is there another way that through this season we can teach gratitude versus consumerism?
I think you just have to really drill in actually expressing it. Someone gives them a gift. Hey, let's make a card. Let's send a text. Let's call them. Just doing that is going to go a long way rather than just being like, oh yeah, I'm thankful. And you move on with it, I think that's a key thing that we try to do. I'm not saying we're perfect, but we really do try, like, hey, they gave you something. Let's say thank you, or let's send a note, or let's whatever we need to do with that. Super important.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Because gratitude is caught. So, yeah, they don't. No child comes out with that in their hearts.
Right.
Really?
Even adults
Oh, it's
struggle.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes. So, if you could give one piece of advice to families heading into this season, what would it be?
Oh, wow.
If you boil it down to one piece of advice,
What would it be?
just one.
just one. Just give
Whole
one.
list.
You've given so
just
much
one.
today.
Man.
Definitely deer in the headlights right now.
Okay, so I'll just say one thing that was helpful for me, and maybe it's too late if you have kids. I don't know. Someone gave Whitney and I advice before we got married. Before we got married, we sat down with different couples who had been married for different lengths of time. So it was a couple that had been married for a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and beyond. All right. And we just asked them all the same questions. It was really interesting. Anyway, one of them gave us some advice that was for Christmas time. They said, decide before you have kids what your rhythm is when you have kids.
That's great.
And so one thing that was really important for me, and so traditions. Maybe this is
Oh,
the
this
one
is a
thing.
There you go. Here's your
Here we
tradition.
go.
Okay. The one thing that I loved most in the midst of all the change or whatever was that in general, with very few exceptions, maybe 2 exceptions that I can recall, is that Christmas morning we woke up in our house. And I loved that. If you think back when you were a kid, one of the things you probably remember, we went downstairs and there was, I didn't wake up in somebody else's. Occasionally, maybe we'd go visit grandparents, but usually Christmas morning, we were at our house. And that's something that I thought was really important for us. And so when we got married, before we had kids, I said, I want us to wake up in our house Christmas morning. We're not traveling to other family members' place on Christmas morning. We're going to wake up Christmas morning. I want our kids to wake up in our house. So that was just a rule that we set from the very beginning, and it has been true to this day. We've never, if we travel, it's before or after. It's not on Christmas. And so I say all that to say maybe you have other things, but just having things that are just for you and for your family, and some strong boundaries that are guardrails, not because you don't want to be with other people, but you want to create something for your family, like decide what that is and then hold to it. And everything, all the other traditions, maybe they change, but this is the one thing we know, we're going to do this one thing together. And I would say be okay with that. And it's totally fine.
I love that.
Yeah.
Somebody, just piggybacking off of that, somebody told us when we were first married or getting married, don't compare your marriage to anyone else's.
Yeah.
You guys you're your own, and I feel like that kind of applies here as well. Like, don't compare what you're doing and what you're able to do with everybody else's.
Right.
You are your own family unit, and so I like that. That's great.
Yeah, and the pressure just to get more and more for your kids or whatever. The great thing somebody gave us that we've used a few times, is maybe you guys have heard it, is like you just give 4 things. Something you want, something you need, something to wear, something to read. And you let the grandparents do the rest. That's great.
good.
That's
And we love the
plenty, and that's
grandparents.
plenty.
We love
right
our
there.
grandparents.
Yay
Yeah,
for grandparents.
yay for
We love you.
grandparents.
We love grandparents.
I would say don't. It would be summarized in this one sentence. Just don't miss it. Don't miss this season. One of the things that I am always so impressed of with Jesus is his ability to seclude himself when he needed it, or when it was busy, or when they were on the road, or when they were traveling. We see Jesus stepping away, right, to pray and to take time. And so I just enforce that in a lot of areas of my life too, and I hope to impose that a little bit on my kids, of just like, hey, we're not going to miss this, right? This is a good thing that we get to do. Again, to Aaron's point of like, this is the only season where we get to do, this, and this. And so I would just tell parents, just don't miss it. Don't get so stuck or so lost in the busyness or in the season, and you miss something that God is trying to show you through the season. So that's what I'd say. Don't miss it.
Yeah, and I think what I would contribute is that it's okay when things change, right? So it's okay if what you had planned before isn't what happens now. So I have a blended family, and so what was the traditions is no longer the same tradition, right, for holidays. So that's okay, but it is, for me, my advice is, even in change, even in new season, new traditions. Maybe you have never had a tradition with your family, but you'd like to start that. That's okay. There's always time to build new. And I think it's just not overlooking the simple moments, like something that we love to do that feels so small, but is like one of our favorite things, is we just make hot chocolate on a night. Well, we do this many times throughout the season, not just one night. But we make hot chocolate. We all get in the car. We turn on Christmas music, and we just drive around and look at the Christmas lights.
We do that
And
too.
that's just fun, right? And it's something small. And I think it's just like what Aaron's saying is like, this is the only time we get to drive around and sit outside of
Stay up
people's
a little
houses
later,
and
yeah,
stay up a little later
do crazy stuff,
and
yeah.
park outside of people's houses and watch their house lights sing to you, which is really awesome. We have that in our neighborhood. And just embracing this, not overlooking the small moments, that in the busyness, in the wanting to have traditions and, the big things, that don't overlook the small moments. And if if this is a year of newness for you, I'm in the boat with you. And so you can create new traditions, and it can still be a beautiful thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us.
Yeah,
And
thanks for
thank
having
you for
us.
joining us.
Yes.
And we hope that you will like and subscribe so that you can hear the notifications when our new podcasts drop. And so we will see you next time on our Ocean View podcast.